were absolutely beautiful. Bigger-scopic wise, especially at the start of this movie.
And the flooding of the Coliseum, which is in the trailers, but like that really happened. They did that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I love the historical fiction angle to it. I wonder what pieces they're actually taking and reassembling here, and a lot of that comes in the form of the fantastic Denzel Washington. The man is having so much fun, but it's more than just fun. The more the film goes on, the more you learn about his character. And the machinations and the pulls that he can do. He is great in it. I haven't seen him have this much fun in a while.
It is great. One of my favorite Denzels, and that's saying a lot. He's the anchor of the film in the first and second half for me, as far as like, no matter what, even in the first half, where I was like, you know, this is like a 3.5 versus the first film was like a 4.5. And then by the end, it landed at like a 4, approaching 4.5 for me. The first half is still like, well, Denzel's a 5. Like the joy of his experience, and he's playing such an interesting role that this story could be told with him as the protagonist, and the story could be perceived with him as the antagonist. The story could be told where it's such a captivating character. Your journey is what your perception of his choices are, and that is a good role for someone as captivating as Denzel, because line to line, you'll change how you feel about him.
There's like 3 main characters, essentially, which are the ones who are advertised in the trailer. You got Paul Mescal, who's really the main character, and then you got Pedro Pascal, and you got Denzel Washington's character, and all 3, without like spoiling anything, there's some variation of honor, legacy, but also revenge as a big theme. Pedro Pascal, he's Pedro Pascal. He's always very charming, and he's a more subtle, more subdued in this role. He's more subtle than the other 2. You know, I would say he's more subtle. Starts off in a way where you're like, okay, I know his role. He's a bad guy. But really quick, that's what I loved about this film, is that it creates a conflict for you as an audience member where you're like, well, actually, maybe he's not a bad guy. He's just a guy who was just doing his job. Do I want him to die? I don't think I want him to die. Like when they get to that fight that's advertised on the posters of Paul Mescal and Pedro Pascal versing each other, it's one of my favorite moments in the movie because I was completely gripped, had no idea how it was going to go down. I didn't know how I really wanted this to unfold. Okay, this movie's doing something very unique, especially compared to what the first movie did, because it's having you try to choose sides, and it's very gray in what's going on.
And while all that's going on,
thank you to Huel for sponsoring today's video. Now, guys, I'm going to give you all the God's honest truth of how this sponsorship came to be. We got contacted about basically partnering up with Huel. Before we agreed to anything, the very first thing I said was I would like to try the product first. I did a Instagram post on our Real Rejects one. It was the first time you see me trying the Huel product. Basically going like, hey, we might not partner with them. This is not a paid Instagram post, but I just wanted to try it since a lot of you guys asked for like health recommendations now and to know kind of what I take, only because of the fact that I'm vegetarian and I have very limited protein options. So I gave it a shot and ended up loving it. Primarily the chocolate one. Wow, this is a really great one. One of the best things about it is that, yes, it's prepackaged, and a lot of times when it comes to like the prepackaged bottles, I'm not a big fan of them normally. What you got me drinking on camera is one of these, which takes a very long time to put together and can often get messy, and it's just not aesthetically pleasing. But I'm trying to pack like a lot of vitamins and fiber, protein. The best part about Huel is a lot of what I try to pack into this one giant shake is already available in this little bottle. Often tastes better than what I can actually assemble myself. It actually tastes great. It's got a high protein intake count as well. And you know what? Brand new bottle. If you guys can see, it's filled to the top. This is how good it tastes. Now, normally what you want to do is spread it out, but if you want it in one go, it is just as good. It tastes really freaking good. Thank you so much for sponsoring this video. The one thing they want me to say is you can get 15% off Huel today with code REJECTS at Huel.com/rejects. Fuel your best performance with Huel today. They are great, and I am already almost out of the many bottles they sent me. If you guys do go check them out at Huel.com/rejects, you'll see that they got a whole bunch more items available as well. And if they taste anything as good as this, I'm going to be a very happy customer for a very, very long time. So join me on this health journey.
You've got the greater knowledge of the Roman Empire. You've got the actual experience of the politics of the world as a backdrop. So while you've got this inner conflict that has so much going on within these two men, you've also got the idea of everything that Rome is and was and what we live in the current state of the American Empire. And I think all of that is really beautifully juxtaposed with everything that Denzel is doing, all the while you love all 3 of these men and what they're going through in their arcs. I just want to give some credit to the best casting of Roman faces, because my God, the profile of both Pedro Pascal and frickin' Paul Mescal is like a coin. These men look like coins.
Paul Mescal has a very unique look. He is the main character in this story. I just had my own little weird process where I was going, it's really hard to like follow in the shoes of Russell Crowe. And so I found myself kind of judging against it. Then I had to let that go. That's a very subjective, probably viewing experience that maybe most people won't end up having. But I think the guy brings a lot of heart to this role. He's one of the stories that deals a lot with legacy and acceptance as well. And I thought that he was actually a great leading character and someone who I did find myself very much rooting for. I just really like the complications that this movie creates with the actual drama that occurs with all the characters, because it makes the fighting that much more exciting and intense. Whereas the first movie is a pretty, you know, straight line of like, this guy's wronged and now he's a gladiator and he wants revenge. And the movie kind of starts off that way where you feel like, okay, yeah, he's the next, you know, fill-in. This is Gladiator soft reboot. They're just calling Gladiator 2. Like I said, in the last half, it starts to do things that become just like Dark Knight Rises level in a way where it's just like political deal. I don't want to ruin it because I don't recall the trailer showing it, but
I haven't seen the second trailer either.
It's just such like a much more politically heavy, more about community and more topical to today than the first one was, which was a little bit more straightforward and primal. This is much bigger in terms of the themes that they're dealing with and what they're. Yeah, it's kind of hard to talk about.
It really is. That's what I was worried about.
Because it takes such a different direction than the last one, which I really loved.
And I want to speak to very quickly the impact of what Paul Mescal's doing here as an actor who I know from smaller films. I really love that it was a contained performance that felt like All of Us Strangers, that felt like the movie he got all the acclaim for last year that was like a father-daughter story. It's that same caliber of acting, but on a bigger scale, and that grounds you into caring about these guys that much more, and that's what we need in these big scope films, is to be invested in the heart of the men in them.
Yeah, he was great. And then, of course, the technical side, which whether or not you like a Ridley Scott movie or not, he tends to still do a great job on all these departments and guiding his team of set designers, production designers. There's a lot more animals in this one than the last one, and sometimes the CGI can pull me out of the film because it's a little bit more CGI heavy than I recall the last one being, but because of what they have to do, it makes sense why they had to use CGI. There's sharks in this movie.
I went to Rome in between the first and second Gladiator, and it was amazing to feel like that authenticity that I obviously wouldn't have any knowledge of. I wasn't there then, but to feel like that is how I perceive Rome, that Ridley Scott production detail and all that stuff is absolutely immaculate here. You feel like you're in the time, the place, the experience.
That's my favorite part about it, is whereas sometimes it feels like when a director returns or you're doing some sequel that they're trying to be Gladiator, or they're trying to be the original. I really felt like I was back in there. Do I think the movie sometimes has like deleted scenes that were, what I mean by that is sometimes like you could feel like some things were probably cut out that maybe might have made this movie.
There's a very weird insert of Paul where he's just like, and this line. And I was like, that felt
there are some turns and beats that happen throughout the film where I'm like, I kind of feel like this played out a little longer, or there's some scenes or lines that needed to be like filled in, but they needed to cut it out for runtime purposes, which is very common with Ridley Scott nowadays, so it kind of makes sense. Outside of that, I still actually think it was a really exciting film, a worthy sequel. Yeah, like I said, watch an IMAX. It's really worth it.
See it big, but it dips a little in the second act for me, and as a warning, that does pull me out, but by the third act, it gets you back. There is a moment that I was definitely like, well, and then I get hooked back in. So for me, 3.5 approaching 4, maybe even 4.5 if I rewatch. But the first film, 4.5, so it's not quite, but it's still one of the best movies of the year. Just the first Gladiator is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, I'll probably go like a 4 out of 5 for me. Jasmine, you rock. Thank you for putting this together. How are your arms doing, Jasmine?
She's making so many eyes.
Yeah, I could see that she's been struggling. I forgot to bring my tripod, and she is holding
she's
this.
working the shoulders.
I think we should just talk about a bunch of other things for a while.
Let's talk about Jasmine.
Let's just talk about Jasmine. Watching an IMAX with the sound design and the scope of it all, it's absolutely worth it. It's a beautiful film. Go
4 to 5 stars. Definitely check it out. I really think it is a movie that will bring people together. I really think it's a cool experience to have with multiple generations. If you love the first one, if you saw it with your family or any of those elements, I really love sequels that feel like they're made for the people that love the first one in really fun ways. So definitely check it out.
I love how it's like an entertaining blockbuster with a lot on its mind at the same time.
Yes, more of that.
Great drama, but also super entertaining.
100%.
Yeah, man. Go watch this.